All right, we're live. We're here. How's it going? My bad here. Coming in today with a live stream with the one, the only, all things knives, Fletcher. How's it
Hey,
going, man?
it's going good. It's going good. I'm ready to talk some knives, and I'm ready to just talk with you guys. Sorry if my voice is weird. Just to let the audience know, I got my wisdom teeth removed on Tuesday.
Man,
As proof, I figured you guys might want to see them. They removed those two on either side, one here and one here. So it makes I've been trying to shoot videos,
yeah.
and every time I open with the video, I'm like, hey guys, my voice is gonna sound a little weird because I've got like chipmunk cheeks right now.
So you got the bottle of OxyContin where you can shake it and do the redneck mating call?
I've got one left. I'm saving it.
Yeah. That's the redneck mating call right there.
Yeah,
baby. Come on. Little Bad had to come into it. She was like, "Daddy, I want to be in the video."
Yeah, right. Whereas me with my wife, I'm like, hey, shut the door. I'm gonna be in the living room for an hour.
Yeah. Mini Bad just now decided that she's a daddy's girl. So like Jelly Monster right here is fighting for attention, and she's always been a daddy's girl. So
Yeah,
it's kind of awesome because what's going on, Uncle Al? How's it going? It's awesome because like Mini Bad, she was always mama's girl, always attached to mama. But the past 2 days, she doesn't want anything to do with her mama. She just wants to jump on me.
oh, that's nice. Yeah, I always remember
Yeah.
my dad, and those are some of my favorite experiences where we'd always go on.
Yeah, I'm gonna get her one of the Spyderco Delica trainer knives, the plastic ones.
Okay, yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get her one of those for her birthday.
Yeah, that'd be a great little trainer knife too. We'll just get them used to knife safety. What I normally recommend people for their first knife when they come to the knife counter where I work, I normally, because we sell these, and so I tell them for the money, this is hard to beat.
Oh yeah, the R2D2
Yeah,
is one of the best knives. Like I've given away three knives. The first one I gave away, I gave it to my brother-in-law, and then he said, "Man, I want another knife. This knife's awesome." So I ended up getting him a CZ0350.
yeah. I think I even traded one with you. I think my Para 3 lightweight that I did the acid etch on. Remember when we first started getting in touch on MC server?
Yeah.
I think we traded. You gave me like 2 or 3 knives, and I gave you a Para 3 lightweight, and one of the ones you gave me was a Rat 2 and D2 that I then gave to my dad. So he has the one that you used to have.
That's cool.
Father's Day gifts.
Man, those R2D2s are awesome, though. There's nothing better than them.
Yeah, and my
I mean, for a start-out knife.
Yeah, my groomsmen for my wedding reception,
Yeah.
I acid etched like 3 or 4 of them. Each one of my groomsmen, and was like, hey, thank you. This, there's not going to be another knife like this because each one I took all the knives. And still in the wash.
Well, that's an awesome gift to give out to your groomsmen. I think my groomsmen got like little bitty miniature bottles of Jack Daniels with our names on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't in the knife game at this time. That was actually we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary. I don't even have a date on my watch, but we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary in 15 days, I think.
Oh, nice.
So, you actually met me on Discord, baby. You want to go get mama? Okay, go get mama. You actually met me on Discord when I was about 3 months into getting into knives, and I think we've known each other for about 3 years now.
I think it's maybe been 2 years.
Maybe 2 years.
Knives for 2. I started in 2020.
Oh, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was in Discord since 2018, late 2018.
Yeah. I joined MC server. He was like the first guy who really got me into knives was Metal Complex, and then what's really got me like continued interest is like Gerald's channel. Really, I mean, Gerald, I mean, me and him talk, I'd say pretty normally. Like I text him, hey Gerald, what's up? He's pretty busy right now, but we just talk steels, and I use a lot of that knowledge that I get from talking to the other guys in the industry to really help the everyday person who comes in, and so that when they make a decision to buy a knife, they're getting someone who's almost, I would say, overqualified in terms of what's normally behind the knife counter.
Well, when we, like, you know me, I'm a user guy. I go out in the field and I physically use the knobs that we have. When I have a question about sharpening or blade steel composition, you're one of the people that I go to. So with your what you would say is overqualified, that's just experience, and you're continuing to learn more and more. As I mean, throughout the years that we've talked,
Yeah,
your knowledge has expanded quite a lot.
yeah. I mean, I'm one of those people that when I really get into something, I just want to learn as much as I can. And then the funny thing is like, so before it was knives, it was like guns, right? Because I had turned 18. Yeah. I was allowed to, do the background check, everything like that. And so I got pretty heavily into firearms, but then I filled up my gun safe. Not to mention it's not as cheap as knives, where, like, whereas I can buy like 3 of these, you can only buy 1 gun, right? And then you can't carry them every day, unless you're like doing a concealed carry, which I'm not old enough for yet, at least in Arizona. But whereas a knife, I can always have it on me. I can use it at work.
That also kind of depends on which knife it is. I've got like 5 knives right beside me that are in between $500 and $700.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So, yeah. I got the Microtech Trudon. I've got the that Chavez Liberation Redition. That's a Ramon Chavez custom. It's not the Riot. It's the Ramon Chavez made, and that's I got it for like $400 at Blade Show, but I know that that's a $600 knife.
Yeah. Normally I were even $700. I think I was looking at Knife Joy the other day, and they're like, his customs are all like $700, $800.
Yeah.
So that's it's a taco truck too, doesn't he? He does the tacos outside of Blade Show.
Oh man, I don't know. I didn't get to see it. The only person outside of Blade Show that I met was Medford, and that's when he was giving out his T-shirts. And right before he got to me, he gave out his last one, so I was kind of bummed out about that.
Oh yeah, I'm actually going to his factory on Monday.
Yeah, we was talking about that the other day. That's going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah, so hopefully I'm able to get some content out about that. Hopefully, they said I could shoot as much as I could when I was talking to their tour lady. They're like, yeah, you can take as much video as you want. I was talking to Chef Kalari as well, and he's like, hey, if you can, send me some photos of the American service knife side. And I was like, yeah, man, no problem. I'll send you I'll send you all my videos.
Yeah, Greg is dude, Greg's a super nice guy if you ever meet him in person. He he wants to push and he wants to trigger people because it's headlines. That's his deal.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to push those buttons.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because I was telling you before we started, I've always had one of these in my pocket.
Yeah.
Great. My family on my grandma's side, their maiden name's Coons, and so they were from Bern, Switzerland. And so I have no problem carrying a Swiss-made tool, but if I'm able to carry in a USA-made version that's made in my state, they're 30 minutes from where I live.
Yeah.
I'd love to go. I told them that. I was like, if you guys have any of the ASKs in stock, I'll come with a wad of cash and I'm buying one.
Well, I mean, I don't think Greg Medford has a problem with Swiss or even German or even Italian-made knives. I mean, it's the saturation into the market that and I love Chinese knives as much as the next guy because they come out with some pretty awesome designs.
Yeah.
But what I do is I get it on the secondhand market, and I believe you have that same little motto. Well, I'm trying not to buy them firsthand. There's a couple of them that I have just because the salesmen that I met were so nice, and of course that's their job and everything, and I understand that. But we connected on what we was talking about, and I did buy a couple from them, and I bought a couple from Anthony, but that's because Anthony's my buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, so like recently I've been steering away from like Chinese made knives. I used to not mind it, but I think like Super Steel Steve and Erica from Not Your Average EDC, they raised some really good points that I think really resonated with me. And so if I do buy a Chinese made knife from now on, it would be purely for really for your guys' benefit in terms of like testing it. And it would most likely be on the secondary, or even if someone sent one in for me to test, I'd have no problem doing that. Just because.
Well, before we got on the live, we was kind of chatting a little bit, and I mentioned that I would like for you to test out AR RPM 9, and that is a Chinese manufacturer with CJRB and Artisan Cutlery. But I would personally buy, and I actually own a couple of these knives already. I'll send them to you whenever you're ready.
Yeah, actually, I'd love to do that. I already have some 9. So like any of the Chinese knives that I have now, I'm holding on to till I can test them and see whether or not I want to keep them. So I have some 9 CR18. Let's see, I have some Chinese S35VN through Asher knives. And so I kind of want to test those to see whether or not they're worth keeping around compared to my others. Because in terms of like S35VN and all that, I really like S45VN more, and I get plenty of that for my CRKs and my Spydercos. Or even good old fashioned, like S30V on something like your Osborne or your Bug Out, which the Benchmade's actually nice perk. Not very many people know this, but if you work at a place that sells Benchmade, every 6 months you can get a 60% off MSRP. And so I've got a couple custom Benchmades I've made that were also like, I paid like a $400 knife, like 150, 180 bucks for.
Dude, that is awesome, man.
Oh, it's a sweet. It's
if I had that option, I would automatically get me a mini Hidden Canyon custom. That's a knife that speaks to me. I don't know if I would like it as much. My favorite Benchmade, of course, is did I say Hidden Canyon? I'm wrong.
Is it the Crooked River?
The Crooked River, yeah. I already own a Hidden Canyon, but I'm into Crooked River. But this Super Freak, I wish that they would do a custom shop Super Freak or just a Freak and just let us custom and pimp that thing out. Because this knife right here, this is the bee's knees, in my opinion. This is my favorite work knife. This is if there's some hard use beating to be done, this is the knife I'm going for.
Yeah, I mean, an M4 is a great work steel. I'm in the middle of my M4 carry right now. I haven't been carrying it much recently because I've, been at home resting after my wisdom teeth. But M4 is great. It sharpens really nice. I've noticed the working edge. So like the fine edge on M4, I've noticed lasts about as long as the entire edge of S30V will last. And then your working edge just takes forever to kill. So it starts with this, screaming razor sharp edge. You work all the way down. You reach till you're no longer able to shave your arm hair. And then I've noticed with my M4 that there's certain spaces that will kind of die out, but then the rest of it's like razor sharp still, where it'll still cut paper, no problem.
Yeah.
And so when I did my cardboard test of M4, that was something that I kind of had to take into effect. I think it has something to do when the edge is breaking down, that those micro serrations popping up from the carbides.
I get the same thing. So like down here, still razor sharp, but that tip is a working edge. I can like run my finger across it and not even cut my finger. But this part down here, I stropped it back up and now it's hair popping. I mean, you can see them flying.
Yeah.
Straight off of the blade.
And that's the thing with M4 too, is it strops amazingly. Anytime where I've killed my edge and then I haven't had enough time to sharpen it before I go to work again, I just put it right back on the strop. I do if it's really dead, I'll do a 12, a 9, a 6, and a 1. Although recently I've been doing just a 6 and a 1, and it's performed beautifully on the M4. Taking any burrs off, it's popping hairs. I mean, people who see me at the knife counter, sometimes they'll probably see bald spots on my arm, and that's from me just checking my knives.
I walk around, my left arm is always half shaved. Like sometimes I even have to go like that.
Yeah.
It's like you're a gorilla on this arm. Sorry, Grumpy. And then you're bald on this one.
Yeah, exactly.
But Hinderer Collector, I noticed your comment a while ago about how much you liked Hinderers and everything. What do you think, Hinderer Collector, about the new Hinderer Automatic? Shoot us a message down in the comments. We'd love to hear what you got to say. But back to the M4 and everything else. Yeah, it's an amazing steel. I've owned this knife for a couple of years. It's my hard use knife. That tip is a little bit dull. Like I said, I have stripped roofing material that goes underneath metal ridge caps to keep the spiders in water and everything else, and I just strip it down the middle and wrap it around. And this thing can take a hell of a beating. So yeah, I'm a big M4 fan. It's not my favorite steel, but it's probably top 3, maybe. It's at least top 5.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. That and Rex 45 kind of have a battle for me. Because personally, when I carried Rex 45, I was carrying it during our busy season at work during Black Friday. So I was filling up all the dump bins. I was constantly opening product, and it just didn't quit. That working edge just lasted forever. Even when it wasn't cutting paper anymore, it was just going. And it was going through boxes. It's one of those things where you have an experience with a steel and it just stays with you, no matter what else you've experienced with another steel. But their recipes are super similar, except for maybe the addition of cobalt to Rex 45, which I do think it boosts the performance of the chromium in the solution, and I think it does help with corrosion resistance a little more. Although other people have said, some other things about it. But I think you had a knife you wanted to show everyone as well when we were first starting out.
Oh yeah. Today, my last live last night, Daniel Tsuji was on there. Daniel Tsuji is an extremely talented blade maker. If you knew what I knew about Daniel Tsuji, y'all would be trying to get his knives hand over fist. All of my Daniel Tsuji knives are going to skyrocket in value very, very soon. I'm extremely excited about it. Y'all still can't buy them, even if they do triple in value. But I'm extremely excited about these knives. But we can go ahead and pop this bad boy open. We'll do the unboxing right here, right now. What blade steel you want me to do? 9CR18 MOV M4 D2, 20CV Nitro V 14C28N, or 154 CM.
Let's do the Nitro V, and then we can use that as a segue into talking about Nitro V.
That's a wonderful suggestion, especially since Hinderer Collector is asking about Nitro V already. So I'm going to use the CRKT Crit. I've already got a review up. I do not need to pop the multi-tool function out. I need the blade. So there's the blade. Nitro V is pretty good still. It's probably one of my favorite stainless, and I would put it in the budget realm, really.
Yeah.
I'm talking to a bladesmith right now about building me a EDC style Arkansas toothpick. So it's going to be a double-sided bladed dagger, but it's going to be in the Arkansas toothpick fashion, if you will.
Okay, yeah. I mean, when I created Nitro V, I found that, and even reading into it, it's really a steel that punches above its weight class. Like, I was talking to one of the other guys behind the counter. He was asking me about blade steels. I pulled up Nice Steel Nerds. And here, I'll let you get into that, and then we can continue.
Oh man, keep going, bro.
So I showed him Nice Steel Nerds, and I showed him all the stats, and he's like, I feel like you just showed me the cheat code into knife steels, and I'm like, I showed you a glimpse of what Knife Steel Nerds has to offer, and so I went in and we were looking at it, and it's one of those steels that, despite it being stainless, it might not be the most stainless, but it's super tough. its edge retention when you get it to about 61 Rockwell is phenomenal. It performs on cardboard. I had 235 feet cut, which is phenomenal. It was like 80 feet fine edge and then like 135 feet working edge. So it really does. And when I compared it to my 14C28N, just in how I was using it and carrying it, I actually rather enjoyed Nitro V a little more. And it is stupid easy to sharpen. It is just one of those skills, like 5 minutes on a Waterstone, and you're screaming, shaving sharp, no matter. And I dropped mine and chipped it out.
I'm not as talented as you are, so like I'll use an Arkansas stone, you know, like on an old case or something like that. Yeah. But besides that, I just go with the KME precision sharpener with the diamond stones, because there's no way that like you and oh man, what's his name, Mike Cerebral Ballsy. Y'all two are the guys that I really go to when it comes to sharpening and stuff like that, because I'll just throw that KME up and go at it with that.
Well, and recently I've been using my Hapstone sharpener more, but when I was really getting into the freehand more, that Nitro V was just like that. It was crazy. It really is. In terms of a working steel, I almost like it as much as I do a crew wear if I needed something that was stainless. And I really hope USA manufacturers. I'll talk to people at the knife counter and I'm like, they're like, what do you want in a knife? Or like, and I'll say, I wish Benchmade would take all their popular models, like the Bug Out, the Griptilian, and I wish they would throw Nitro V in them and then mark them down like 30, 40 bucks. And that's your budget USA line right there. That's what that puts you right at around.
That's kind of something that Ben Banter did with the well, I guess it's now the baby banner with this CEVIDI. Yeah. They dropped it down from wheat to CEVIDI and put Nitro V into it and made it a budget knife.
And to be honest, it probably performs better than their S35VN. I know that sounds like heresy, but S35VN, its optimal heat treat from what I've been reading is 61 Rockwell, and most of these companies are touching 59, 60. And so it's a steel that just has a higher Rockwell, like Nitro V, that's made for cutlery, because it's just an AEBL derivative, performs.
The S30V to the S35VN little debate, to me, it kind of depends on what type of knife it is and what its purpose. If it's like a beater, folder pocket knife, I'm going to go S35VN all day. If it's a deer skinning knife or something like that, I'm going S30V.
Yeah, and S30V is one of those steels, just like M4. When you get into that working edge, even when it's super dull, I'll have people bring their knives to me while I'm at the knife counter sharpening them. And I'm like, when's the last time you sharpened this? They're like, it's been a year. And I'm like, I brought this in a while ago. And they're like, it just keeps cutting. And it really is true. Those vanadium carbide, once the steel starts breaking down and they get exposed, they just keep cutting. Whereas a steel like Nitro V, once you're no longer cutting paper, you're no longer cutting anything. It dies out.
It's gonna go downhill pretty quick. I got a knife from a pawn shop, and I don't know. It's real Damascus, but I don't know who the hell grinded that thing or put an edge on it, because the edge is like 1/8 of an inch thick.
Oh man,
it's horrible. But I'm still going to give it away for the 400 subscriber giveaway. Not to get off Nitro V for a second, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Daniel Tsuji knife.
Yeah,
this is a Puko he made for me in CPM 4V. It is freaking sweet. Got that bone stag with the little Hawaiian koa wood bolster with the G10 liners. And the feel of this knife is sweet. It's got a little curve at the end of it where it goes into the palm of my hand just about perfect. But this knife is going to be a user, and this is going to start being my main bushcraft knife. I know I've got all those Bark Rivers and CPM 3V and everything, but I really want to test this 4V out and see what it can do compared to the 3V style. It's also got that it's got that Puko flat grind, but it's in a convex flat grind. So this edge is going to last forever.
Yeah, and that's going to be a good user for sure. Probably not here anytime soon, but I'm definitely going to be testing some 4V out and put it through its paces. One thing that I actually just did is I just had a knife come in that I designed that was in 4V. You'll probably see a video up here on it soon, but I really like 4V as a general user steel. It's, from what I've experienced so far, not just in a user, but also when I made it.
Yeah.
I made it, probably finished one all the way through one, and then the other two I sent off to my friend Levi Herrick of Northern Knife Works, and he finished it up for me, and he did an amazing job. But
yeah, I've been talking to Levi about building me a Bushcrafter knife. Yeah. I've got 3 designs in my head. I haven't put them on a CAD yet. One of the designs, the one I was talking about, the tusk pick, the little Arkansas toothpick, the EDC style. I got Wyatt Hines building that one, and I've been talking to Levi for the past couple of days about building my my Bushcraft knife.
Yeah, I mean, he does a great job. His Kydex work is actually very good. I like his Kydex work, and just make sure when you do them micarta, like if you do a micarta material, just tell him what grit you want it at, and he'll throw it right on there. Because he turned.
Oh yeah.
The more polished.
I want a rough micarta, but I don't want it to be so rough that when you're sweating, it gets into the fibers and then it becomes slick.
Yeah. So what I did actually is, if you send a handle material that you want, he'll pick it up for you. So on this one that I made, I did Taro Tough. I did a orange Taro Tough, and so he just threw it on there, and he did a great job.
How much was the Taro Tough? Because I mean, that's a fantastic material.
Yeah, it was like $12 for the knife. He just because the deal that we had when I sent those knives in for him to finish is I sent him some 4V blade stock. I said, keep the blade stock, heat treat and finish the knife for me, and we're even. And so that's what he did.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, and so if you do want a knife in 4V, Levi should have some blade stock available. And probably talking to Gerald about this, but try to get that knife tested to see what the Rockwell is on it.
Okay.
He said he treated it to 65. I had him put the screw, like hardware handles on instead of the pinned, so that we could get it tested. So he probably won't do much 4V until I get that tested and confirmed up.
Well, the Bushcraft knobs that I've got designed is going to have the screw hardware as well, because when you pop the scales off, there's going to be a cutout in the tang where you can put like some fire tinder and a small little bitty ferro rod, something like that.
Oh, it's hidden within the scale, so all you got to use like a little Torx bit and pop it off.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that'll be sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to go too much into the designs. Somebody might draw it up on a CAD.
Yeah, right.
Still my design. You never know who's watching these. I mean, there could be somebody like that around sometime.
Yeah. Did you want to go into in terms of like what the normal knife buyer is going in and buying?
Oh yeah, man. Speaking of, what company do you work for?
So I don't, in terms of like just for separating this from my work, I actually don't disclose it to people, but they are a rather large retailer.
I think I know who it is, but I won't say it.
Yeah, just to kind of separate in case somebody
like King Raven might have a discount code for the company.
So something like that, or whereas me, because I work there, I have one. But it is a rather large retailer. They are very popular in the South, and I'd say they're great to their employees too. So I have no complaint working there. They pay me really well, more than
probably does some pretty sweet Kaiser exclusives.
No Kaiser exclusives. They do have exclusives though.
I guess I'm wrong about who you're working for, but we can probably talk about that in private at another time.
Yeah. So
I'll quit trying to play the guessing game.
Yeah, it's not Shields or anything like that, but they do come from the Bible Belt area. So that'll kind of, not going to say for sure, but that's where they are. But let's get into basically, as someone who works at the knife counter, the people who aren't into knives, basically what they do at the knife counter, right? So
I figured they'd look at the case knives mostly.
So the older guys do, and actually a lot of the Hispanic gentlemen who come in, they really like the case knives.
Right? Yeah, the trappers, pocket jewelry, something a little flashy.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll come in and they'll look at the case knives, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, these are nice," and they kind of like a smaller knife, right? I'll go in and I'll, hey, these case knives are really nice. They're USA made, under $100, phenomenal, right? And then I'll take them over to the Benchmade counter because it's just right next to it. And I say, for more money, you can upgrade your materials and your edge is going to last longer. And they'll be like, yeah, I always notice with my case knife, I do have to sharpen it more. And that's actually one thing a complaint that most people will come in with. They'll come in with a Chinese Kershaw or a, oh man, what's that brand? MTech. They'll come in with an MTech in their pocket, and they're like, yeah, I want to upgrade to something that'll hold an edge better. So first thing I ask them, I say, okay, first off, what's your budget? Because we need to find something that you're able to afford. And I'll get people who are like, no budget. And I go immediately to the Benchmade case, and I show them all the, S30V, S90V, M4. I break the steels down for them. Most of the time they'll leave with a Benchmade because of the lifetime warranty. But a lot of times, and I think this is where USA manufacturers are missing out, they say 100 and below. So that immediately excludes all the Benchmades, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, your case knives are still available, but I'll pull a case knife out, and most people will be like, well, I'm worried when I'm going to go into a cut, I'm going to close the knife on my hand.
Yeah, because it's slippy.
And so from there, I have several options. I can recommend something like this Rat 2, which is half of their price point, right? And really, you get
you can get a pretty decent R2D2 for like $35.
Yeah, and the ones that we sell are the AUS-8, which personally, their heat treat I found is actually better on the AUS-8.
Well, and it's stainless. I live where it's extremely humid. I mean, I think we hit 102 degrees today with 45% humidity. Yeah, it was like a blanket. So when I'm wearing all of my tool steels, they tend to rust. I've rusted this Nitro V. Oh yeah. Yeah, you're in Arizona. You don't have humidity, man.
No, let's see what the humidity is. Look at that, 10%.
Yeah.
So I wear these tool steels all day, and they don't normally rust on me.
Yeah, you're good in the desert, but like with the 40 to 70% humidity, I can rust out Nitro V. I can rust out non-CR 18 MOV. It doesn't matter.
No problem. And that's where I think a steel like VG10. So that's another point, right? When they're at that $80 price point, I'll pull out the Spyderco Enduro, and I'm like, hey, how would you like a steel that's going to hold an edge longer than your Chinese Kershaw? It's going to be easier to sharpen and more stainless. And they immediately go, you got something like that? And and I pull out VG10. I'm like, they've been making this knife for 30 years, longer than I've been alive, right? And it performs phenomenally. It sharpens easily. Heck, you can raise a burr on VG10 just by stropping.
That may be true, but with a guy that will beat a knife to death, are you thinking about the toughness factor of what somebody needs?
Yeah, so actually the Enduro that we sell is the Saber Ground one.
Okay.
So it's not a super thin one. It's actually the one that's, 25 thousandths behind the edge, and will actually hold up. And Spyderco, he treats their VG10 at like 57, 58, so it's not too bad. If someone says I need something really tough, we sell the Rat 3s, the fixed blades, and I say if you need something really tough, here's our Rat 3. It's in 1075 steel, so it's not going to hold an edge forever. But I have one. I've got one in my drawer in the other room.
I've got one somewhere right here. When you said Rat 3, I started looking around. I was like, where's it at?
We're out of them, and they're not stainless. But if someone's like, I need a knife that is just super tough.
Well, that Cerakote that's on the Rat 3 or whatever that powder coat's extremely tough. Yeah. I've beat on that knife for like 2 years and it's still there.
Yeah, and the only gripe that I have with the Rat 3 is, say I have a bevel like this that I normally like. Theirs from the factory is like this.
I had to fix that entire bevel because it was wonky. It wasn't straight. It was horrendous. I ended up using a work sharp electric sharpener to the belt sharpers to get the bevel right.
That's the one knife where I'd be like, you might want to take it to an electric sharpener. So I tell people too, because that's actually another thing I experienced. People come in and they're like, I need a sharpener. What do you think of these electric sharpeners? I just tell them the truth. This is what I say. It depends what kind of steels you're using. If you have a vanadium addition to your steel, you need diamond. If not, then these are perfect. If you just got a beater knife, right, and you're just beating the crap out of it every day and you just need to put it through something to put an edge on quick, this is your guy. But I also tell them, if it's something that's a nice knife, like a Benchmade or something like that, take it to a stone, you remove less material, and you get a better edge.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I agree. If it's a, any type of super steel, I mean, even once we get into the AR RPM 9 or the Nitro V section or the VG10 section, I'm going with the KME with the diamond stones. I'm not going to put it on a wet stone. I'm not going to use the work sharp. But if we're talking like 1095 or 8CR 13 MOV or something like that, yeah, or Oz 8, I don't have a problem doing that.
And D2 is one of those steels where I found the vanadium edition is really for like grain refinement, but I found that diamond abrasives on D2 is best. It just deburrs the easiest. It actually puts a rather nice edge on it too. I just sharpened some my CEVIDI Elementum in D2, and I used diamond abrasives, and it actually took a really nice edge. Like, I wouldn't say it's like M4 level of being able to get super sharp, but it's sharper than a lot of the S30V I've sharpened.
Well, D2's like in my top 5 favorite budget steels. That was actually a question that I was going to raise to you earlier. I just forgot. What do you reckon your top 5 budget steels, since you're doing this this budget steel carry and review, and you're going through all the budget steels right now? What would you put in your top 5?
Yeah, so I did I believe I did 14C 28N and Nitro V to start off my budget. I'm kind of doing this thing where I go up and down, right? So I'll do like a tool steel, like Rex 45, and then I'll do like DC, and then I'll jump down to like DC 53. Right now I'm doing M4, and then I'm going to do S90V, and then I'm probably going to jump back down to a budget steel. But in terms of, I probably wouldn't say I have like a top 5, right? But I've got a list that I really like. Those would be the 14C28N. You could throw AEBL and Nitro V under that same category of just like a cheap stainless that performs well, right? And then I would throw in, now I'm reluctant to do D2 just because sometimes the heat treatment isn't the best on it. But actually what I really like is 154CM. 154CM is an amazing budget steel, and I think more companies utilize it. And then in terms of probably one more steel that really surprised me was actually this DC 53. It doesn't strop very well, right? But it's not the hardest to sharpen. And to be honest, it really surprised me on cardboard when I did use it. It is a lot like Gerald compared it to Slipnir steel because it really doesn't strop, but it kind of caught me off guard, and I wouldn't be surprised if more companies started using it. But my last one I'd probably throw in would be OS 8, and then probably VG10 in terms of budget steels.
Well, with the Oz 8 though, would that be considering which company you're buying from it? Because you can get some pretty soft Oz 8.
Yeah,
but
yes.
I know Ontario's Oz 8's fantastic, and Boker's Oz 8's fantastic if it's coming from the Taiwan factory.
Yeah. So their Oz 8 is actually very good, Ontario, and it does. Heat treat matters entirely. VG10 is great. And then actually one that just popped into my mind, only company I really recommend it from, well, I think there's maybe 2 companies I recommend it from. Leatherman and Buck Knives. 420 high carbon is a juggernaut of a budget steel. If you heat treat it to 58, 59 Rockwell and you get it as hard as it can go, it is phenomenal.
I've never sharpened my Leatherman in the wave, and that blade is still razor.
Yeah, exactly. And 420 high carbon, it will strop. It's just not going to strop the best. It definitely microchips out as you use it. That's the thing with these really simple steels is that will happen to them.
Yeah.
You almost need to take them like Os 8. When it goes dull, I just back to the stone because you can't really strop it back. It's just not one of those steels that does that. D2 is kind of the same way, but I feel like it does a little better. But I mainly like it because the edge it takes. When I did my cardboard test of 420 high carbon, it cut more than the Os 8. It cut 192 feet, and it sharpened just as easily. I wouldn't
have that would not have surprised me because of the way that I grew up with. I grew up with case knives, Kershaws, and Buck. That's what I've always had. So I got quite a bit of experience with the Buck knives, cleaning hogs and deer stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem skinning. I could skin out 2 deer in a row with 110.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean they used to do 440C I think up until the 80s, and then they switched to the 420 high carbon, and with that Boss heat treat, it just does a phenomenal job. And I would say, going back to that segment earlier, Buck makes a flipper called the Sprint, and it is $60. That right there is like my USA budget king.
Yeah, I played with that a little bit while I was at Blade Show. It's pretty sweet. It's got nice action.
Yeah,
it's solid. It's solid knife. I don't guess I have a USA budget king. I do have a budget king for me, but I don't have a USA one.
What's your budget king?
Oh, the CRKT PLR3 ND2.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. You talked about that last night on your live.
Yeah, that's one of them I pulled out. Yeah, it's sweet knife. The action on it's phenomenal. It will bite you because it's drop shut.
Yeah, I think mine cut me when I got it, but mine, there's something about the knife that I just didn't like. It could have been the bearings, but mine felt kind of cheap. I know with CRKT you can either get a really good knife or it's a dumpster fire.
Yeah, you might have got one. I mean, I agree. The problem that I see with CRKT is they have fantastic designs, but they use shit materials.
Exactly. That's spot on. That sums up. And to be fair, their fit and finish too is like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. Well, that knife I did send it out to Salty Redcorn, and he pimped it out and made the fit and finish perfect. So
yeah, like I like the PLR3 design. Very ergonomic. I like the choil blade. I like that it's got a little. It's like I'd call it a hybrid. It's like a drop.
It's almost a spear point, but a sheep's foot as well.
And great geometry overall. I mean, in terms of a full flat grind, you got belly on the blade, just about everything you want in a knife shape. And I just feel like if he ever took that same design and he brought it over to like Giant Mouse or something like that, it would kill.
Oh yeah.
They could easily $200 for it, no problem.
That'd be sick. If it was Giant Mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Going back to that DC53, you said earlier that it compares to D2, I believe, or it might. I think you didn't say it today, but I was watching your videos on it a couple of weeks ago, and I thought I heard you say something like that on the videos. What ways did you think that it compared to D2, and which ways do you think that it excelled, and which ways do you think that it's lesser?
So in terms of D2, this is actually meant to be like super D2 is what they call D. That's another word for it's supposed to be a derivative of the steel. They drop the chromium content, if I remember correctly, and then they add some other stuff to that I can't remember off the top of my head just because it's been a while. But It is meant to be able to be heat treated harder and perform better. One way in which I would say it is very similar to D2 is in the way it sharpens. You know, in terms of on the stone, how it feels, and also the kind of edge it takes. Like, it doesn't take like, oh, wow, this is the sharpest edge I've ever had. It's, if you've ever sharpened D2, you'd be like, okay, I could see how this is a derivative of D2. It's not the most razor sharp edge, but it's quite toothy, right?
Okay.
Another way in which I feel like this could have performed even better than D2 is if they up the Rockwell. Because I believe Make Your Own knives, they say 58 to 60 for this stuff. It can go all the way up to 63. Whereas D2, you can go up to like 62, right? So you get a wider Rockwell range, and this still will outperform it in terms of cardboard reliably. So in terms of a 58 Rockwell this, or 60 Rockwell this versus a 60 Rockwell D2, this actually outcuts it in terms of cardboard. Now, if I had to guess, that probably has something to do with lowering the amount of chromium and getting a finer grain structure, and then some of those other elements that are added in there.
That's very interesting. I would like to see one that was around the 62, 63 and compare it with another 60, 61 D2 against each other. See what happens there.
Yeah, I have a mini Griptilian that's Rockwell that's 60.5.
Yeah. Is that one of the old school ones that came in D2?
No, so this will be a hint for your question earlier. It's an exclusive where I work, mini Griptilian in D2. So that's...
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty cool variant. How much? Regular Griptilians are around the 110, 130 range. Did that drop the price of it any for those exclusives?
So I don't. Before discount, I think it was $139.99 for the mini.
Okay.
The full size is actually weird too, because the full size is like $135.99. So I think it's one of those things where the pricing on it is actually dependent upon something else other than the steel, whether it's the fact that it's taking time off the factory line, right? Or they're having to fit it into their production sequence, and the fact that we're the only ones who carry it, right? Meaning that we can charge a little more for it, and it just, you know, it'd be a lesser steel over something like S30V or even 154CM.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair enough. I mean, even if it is 135, I mean, if you're getting a quality piece, which we all know Benchmade, they've had their problems in the past where they have some fit and finish issues or something like that, and you're always going to have that butterfly tax that everybody knows about.
Yeah.
But if it's a quality D2, I have no problem paying 135. If it's and Benchmade is extremely capable of making a quality D2, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I really think with D2, you just can't run it as in large of batches because it's meant to be a tool steel, right? So it's meant to be one of those steels where you have some bar stock up on the shelf, you run into a unique problem at your work, you design it specifically, you do, you know, a batch of maybe one or two of them, heat treat them to the Rockwell you need, and then you use the tool. D2 is never really meant to be a cutlery steel, right? And so when you throw it into these large batches like they do in China or even some of these factories here in the States, you run into a problem where you run into subpar heat treatments and really a steel that where like when Randall would use it, right? And Randall knives where he charges $300, $400 or Dozier knives, I think is where he would do D2 blades and people would just rave on them. I think it's down to the smaller size down in the oven, which is where it really matters, which is another problem that I think 20CV, M390, 204P, I think it's the same problem they run into.
I get the Randall knife craze and everything, and I've went and I've seen and I've held Randall knives and everything, but to me, I don't think that there's a reason to pay that kind of cash for a Randall knife. I would much rather go with a smaller, lesser known Bladesmith. We've already talked about Levi. He would definitely be one of them. Daniel Tsuji, you know, I'm already a fan of his. And of course, Wyatt Hines. You're going to get a very well put together quality piece with better materials than D2, and whatever that plastic material is on his base knives.
Yeah, the another maker that I really like too is BGM Knives.
Yeah.
He sent me in a Javelin, an M4, right? So it's not something you can order yet. But I ran some testing for him, and he did a killer job. His hollow grinds are really nice, very thin geometry. And I was talking to him, and I was like, "Hey, are you ever going to like upscale this to like CNC?" And he says, "No, I'll always make my knives by hand. That's what I love about it." And so a guy like that, and he's super nice. I'll talk to John too on Insta. I'll be like, "Hey, how you doing, buddy? What you do? You know, like what's up today?" And he'll just chat me up, and we'll just kind of talk about stuff. But it's one of those things where the person making it is young, like I am, right? So I can support a young maker. He's a nice guy, and I love the stuff that he makes.
Well, I guess I go for about the same criteria as you. I would like to support the USA made knives instead of going outside the country. And besides that, I'm a small business owner. I would love to support other small business owners and try to help each other, rise up and make a little bit of money, have a little bit of comfortability.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like right now, I've got another knife on order from John. You'll probably see on the channel. And I think I did 52-100. So that'll be enough. Hey, yeah, there he is. John's in the chat. He just sent some.
What's going on? BMG knives. Yeah.
While he's here,
I think if I buy another watch, gun, or knife, my wife is probably going to kill me.
you and me both. You and me both.
Yeah, you got any? You have a wristwatch on today?
Not today. I didn't go to work, so I just had my phone on me. What I normally wear, I am looking to upgrade to probably a Seiko or something like that. But right now I got a Timex Expedition Scout. That's what I carry.
There's nothing wrong with a Timex Expedition Scout. They're fantastic. I actually got one for Christmas last year, but for some reason it didn't work, so I had to take it back, and they didn't have the exact same model. It was kind of disappointing because I wanted one that worked really, really well. They're fantastic field knives. I love them.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get into a Seiko soon, like their field grade stuff. I've been having to strap down on the budget a little bit because my wife wasn't able to work while she was in school, and so those are nice.
Seiko chronograph. It's fantastic. It's the mechanical Sportiva.
Okay, model. Yeah, is it the one that has their pendulum system in it? So as long as you move, keeps. Yeah, I had a guy. I was showing a guy a rangefinder at work, and I saw he had a Seiko on, and I'm like, all right, I just got to stop this conversation real quick. How do you like your Seiko? And he's like, they're awesome.
Oh yeah, that's my main work knife, man. I've beat that knife I've stuck it down in plumbing holes when I'm trying to patch pipes that busted or something like that, and water's going everywhere. I've never had a problem with it. It's got a 100-meter resistance, but I've never taken it down 100 meters. I would not dive in that. I've got a couple other divers from Phobos or whatever it's called that I would probably take on those. But that's my main work watch, as well as a gift from Salty Red Corn. That was the Escapement Time, and that's a pretty decent piece. But today I was wearing the Islander, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty nice. This is more of a dressy watch. I wouldn't take it golfing or something, but it's light enough to go golfing in.
Yeah, for me in a watch, I tend to like about a 40-millimeter casing. Maybe you could go 2 millimeters up or down. But I was actually in the middle of making a list the other day, and those are the two that really caught my interest in terms of when I was doing my the Seiko.
Those are fantastic.
Yeah, and they're right in the price range that I'd be okay with dropping.
Is the upper end of your price range that you're looking to step up to?
Probably, something under 300. At the end of the day, I got to justify it to the wife as well. But I think for a watch, that's respectable. That you can still get, not made in China, made somewhere like Japan, where it's still phenomenal.
Islander, I mean, they do have some made overseas, but they have a USA factory, and a lot of their watches. This is a $200 watch,
Okay.
so you can step up and go check out Long Island Watches on their website. You can find a bunch of their stuff. Talk to Salty about which ones are made because they have a factory in Arizona.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
they're making knives in your state.
yeah. I mean, I have a Tough Rider pen because they're made here in the Valley, and I have
What's going on, Joe? I'm doing great, brother.
and I want to get either a Medford or a ASK because they're made here.
Yeah. Those ASKs are pretty sweet too, man. There ain't nothing wrong with those.
And I always have a Swiss Army knife on me, so I got,
Oh yeah.
You know.
Well, the Swiss Army knife thing with the ASKs, I mean, it would be pretty awesome to have, an American made. I would like to get into some of their outdoor gear and try some of that.
I don't think I've looked.
The survival tools and everything like that.
Yeah, but my only thing is I hope Medford keeps the geometry still somewhat thin because I know he likes a beefier blade, but I can always send it off to John. I've sent him, this Paris Free crew wear. He fixed that up for me. I bought it on the secondary market, and like the chip was tipped and the bevel is all wonky. So I sent it in to John, and he thinned it out for me. And then like another one he did was this original crew wear Shaman sprint run, and you can see that. Let's see if I can get it up to my camera. If you see out near the tip, that is thinner than a normal Shaman tip.
Yeah.
And I think he 15 thousandths, I think, behind the edge is what he ran this guy to. I took it to work and I was using it and I was like, this is awesome. It's basically just a larger native.
Yeah. You'd be going through cardboard like it was nothing.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I'm doing most of the time is cardboard, hard plastics too, like the clamshells. And thin knives are awesome.
People are gonna maybe not the guys that are watching us right now because the guys and the gals that's watching us right now, they're probably more of an enthusiast than most people. But the average person is gonna say that's nothing but cardboard. It's just paper. What they don't understand is that there's clay inside of that cardboard as well,
yeah.
And you can use mud and sand to sharpen a knife, and you can also use that stuff to dull a knife. Very fast.
I mean, at work, even with a steel like M4, once I get freight in, it's like 2 days of freight and I got to sharpen because and the boxes are dirty too. They pick up dust in the warehouse as well.
Oh yeah.
Not only is
leaves, sticks, debris, dust, everything.
Yeah. So like John's knife, the Javelin that he sent me, I think it cut like 462 feet of cardboard. Lasted me about 2 or 3 days at work, just because there's that much grit in what I cut. Or if I'm doing ammo boxes too, they got all that thick like epoxy on there to seal the tops on there. And it's
kind of like a wax and it's double-sided cardboard.
Yeah. So like I'd stick my blade in there and I have to pop up like that. That's where a steel like M4 is awesome.
Yeah.
Because it can be ran at thin geometries, and I know I'm not going to be snapping my tip, popping open boxes.
Oh no! If you're snapping M4, you're doing something.
Oh, you're doing
something you shouldn't be doing. Really,
exactly.
You really shouldn't be doing that. Man, we're coming up on an hour. I appreciate the talk and everything. Is there anything that you want to talk about as we close out? Tell them about your channel. Tell them about what's coming up on your channel. Tell them about the things that you're wanting to do in the future.
Okay, yeah. So in terms of my channel, I'm in the middle of carrying M4 right now. I'm basically probably one more day using that M4 knife, and then we're going to do a review of M4. I'll probably do some cut tests on it. And then we're going to jump over to S90V. After S90V, I'm thinking either K390 or one of the budget steels. In terms of my channel, I'm at like 855, 56 subscribers. I'm hoping before August 29th, which would be a year of my channel being around, that I'm able to get to 1,000 subscribers and monetize so that I can continue to say pay for test knives, pay for shipping, and pay for cardboard. And so that's really, in terms of my channel, those are the goals I have. I have some other grander plans, but I really need to, before I really start talking about them, work them out a little more. And then that way, when I say something to you guys, I'm able to keep my word and keep myself honest.
Oh, that's great. If you're not already subscribed to All Things Knives, which I'm sure that 90% of the 11 people that are watching us right now is, go check out All Things Knives. Fletcher's is extremely intelligent, and he has some good information, and it's extremely detailed on his blade steel compositions. He'll tell you how to sharpen a knife, what you need to sharpen a knife for, all that kind of stuff. So please go check out All Things Knives. Give him a like, subscribe, share his channel. And everybody, y'all have a good night. I appreciate y'all watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Comment on my Bads videos. Tell me what you'd like to see. Y'all have a good one now. Bye-bye.
You guys have a good one.